I'm gonna use that fancy word, Bobby, consultant.
Okay, understood.
But I do have 28 MCs.
28. Jesus Christ, bro. Are you
Yeah,
sure?
they're 300 plus trucks plus
Are you
different equipment types.
Are you sure you're not from Chicago, bro?
Born and raised, brother.
There, dude. That's actually not a
But
bad
not
idea, bro. Like,
but not Elk Grove Village, dude. You know it's actually working, man. Because I started a broker. I built Amazon Relay. I worked there for 10 years at Amazon. Built their brokerage. I built many of different their modalities, and so like surface transportation. I did the third party. I did the private fleet. So intermodal, steamship lines. I built, and then I built a relay in 34 countries. I rolled it out, right? But after that, I started my own brokerage. But dude, this model works even better, man. Like I take a commission on the carrier side, and the shipper works directly with the
so
with the
basically,
asset carrier.
that's what I was gonna ask you. So what do you do? Just go to big trucking companies, have a lot of MCs, be like, hey, I'm gonna get you customers, and you just pay me a percentage.
Yeah, I'm outside sales essentially.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I see. I thought about doing that like a while ago, dude. I was like, dude, I should just find
Bobby, it's the best thing, dude. You don't have to worry about taking on the risk of taking on the loads. You know, if you have your brokerage and just the operation, the overhead, dude. I have no overhead, dude.
So yeah, all you do is set up the customer for the big trucking companies, and then they sign a contract with you, and then they just pay you what, like 2-3% of every load or something.
They pay me about 5. No, they pay me 5% of gross. I just don't charge them accessorials.
Well, that's not bad actually, bro. Because like a good dispatcher gets paid about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I find them, contract high volume freight, and I connect back. I create their network. I change. Some trucking companies have 300 to 800 trucks, and 90% of their mix is not spot, 10% contracted. Dude, I flip that, man, and it changes their lives. They become more efficient. I do introduce a lot of machine learning into their network. Like there's a company called Fleetline.ai that replaces dispatchers essentially, and it's just much more efficient, man. They can do, they can connect loads and what the driver preferences are in our network preferences or the carrier's network preferences. And dude, we just make money, man. We know what shippers to target. We bid on their freight aggressively. We hedge our fuel. We buy fuel contracts. So like these spikes now, dude, we're capped. We still get the discounts at the pump with our vendors. We bring a lot of small to mid-sized trucking MCs to the work like a mega kind of, and it just works, dude. And they grow.
Now, quick question: do you have to do the bidding for them, or are they doing the bidding by themselves?
So both. It's usually we just have the carrier just bid directly, and we just give them benchmarks. Like we'll give them sonar data, market benchmarks. I hate DAT. And then the carrier goes from there. They'll look at the benchmarks and they'll adjust their pricing, or they'll go to different rounds and use those market benchmarks.
So yeah, that's I was actually really like thinking about this like not too long, maybe like a year or two ago. I was like, bro, I should just go find trucking companies that have a bunch, because I already have the whole like implemented system of like how to find the customers, like how to email them, and how to set like the whole process already like set up. I just hate the process of closing them and then fucking operating and then having people try to do like that part pisses me off. I hate doing that, dude. It's just too time consuming for me. Especially with everything going on right now. But dude, if I was able just to connect like trucking companies with customers, I think that would be like such a fucking easy payday.
Bobby, I think you should give it a shot. You'd be surprised how much less work you'll do. You just pretty much, you do have to close the cycle on the sales piece and always be on top of that piece, but you're not involved in the operations as much. You will be occasionally when the customer asks for it, but that's it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's, I deal with customers all the fucking time, so that's not a big deal. That's the fun part anyways, right? It's just like making sure they're all good, making sure you send them some gifts, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. That's the fun part. Is just the bad part is like dealing with the operations every single day. And then you got to worry about if the trucking companies, you got to make sure they're taking care of them too, right? Because then, dude, that's actually a super smart idea, bro. Because you're like literally getting paid like what a good dispatcher gets paid, just to find a freight, and then you're sitting there just collecting a commission check every week or something.
It's mailbox money, literally. But now there is some stresses with it, right? Like some stuff does keep you up at night, but you make the carrier look good in front of the customer, and you'd be surprised what the carriers pay you outside of commission, dude. Like, what you're saying, if you're doing any process improvements like SOPs and like they're helping their sales team or the dispatch team, dude, you say, hey, this is my price, like know your worth, man. Like, and they pay you for it, man.
Charge them extra.
Oh, absolutely, dude. A la carte.
Yeah, I mean, because dude, it's a lot of work, man. The whole fucking process is fucking hard, and that's why like a lot of people don't even know how to do it, man. Like to set everything up, dude, just get all the fucking emails, all the contacts ready, the whole process of nobody even knows that like different. You need so many different mailboxes in order for it not to go to spam. Like just to do blast emails and do all that kind of dude. That's not easy task, bro. That's what I mean. That's a lot of work,
It is different. Yeah, I mean, it's a grind, man. But if you have relationships in the industry, you start there, man.
Yeah, plus if you're shooting them emails with a company that's 300, 400 trucks, I think that's like shooting fish in a barrel, bro.
Dude, legit. Like I go with like, hey, this is how much capacity I have. You're bidding directly with the carrier. There's no broker margin. And when it comes to carrier performance, like I did that for over a decade, and I know how to get these carriers in line and how to improve like pickups and drops and whatever the metric that they're looking for, right? And dude, you'd be surprised like how much shippers are like, holy shit, can you bid on this type of volume, and dude, you just start and then you just start connecting the MCs, man, building their networks, and you just start printing money, Bobby. Like it's so much better than a brokerage, dude, because you have your upsides and your downsides when the market flips, and dude, fuck that bullshit.
Yeah, the brokerage shit's rough, dude. You know what I mean? Like the brokerage shit's rough. It's just like, and especially good luck trying to get a hold of a customer through a brokerage, bro. Like they're not gonna want to talk to you. Like, it's very hard unless you have a personal relationship already with somebody or you get like a good referrer or something. But if you reach out to any kind of like transportation manager, logistics manager, and you show them like safer says, 300-400 trucks, they're gonna be like, yeah, they're gonna be all over that shit. The same thing like Home Depot, bro. You know what I mean? Home Depot, like what is like I think 250 plus, or they don't even want to talk to you if you don't even show up with that many trucks at the door to them.
Yeah, Costco is 500 minimum.
Is it? Yeah. So like then Walmart obviously just started doing now they're doing like 10 plus, but before to get into Walmart, same thing. I think it was like 250 before they even.
Well, Walmart's just late to the game. They're competing with Amazon and TikTok fulfillment, like with the third party fulfillment and drop shipping, like faster speed. So like that's all Walmart's doing, dude. They're building their own surface transportation truckload LTL brokerage.
Damn, this guy's gonna have me jump off this live and then make videos about, hey, are you a trucking company that's 300 or more trucks? Let me talk to you for a
Bobby,
minute.
You'd be surprised, brother, how many trucking companies will like. You have to. They just don't pick any schmo off the street, right? You have to have leverage in the industry, and I'll be honest, like with Amazon behind my name, and the amount of money, and I awarded these guys a lot of freight at Amazon, a lot of contract lanes, because we were reducing the megas and the mid-sized brokerages out of Amazon's network and then introducing the smaller MCs, which is like the public knows, like they see all these shitty drivers pulling Amazon trailers. But it's a necessary evil, man. It's just, that's a whole nother conversation.
Dude, people, like, this is the wild part, bro. People be buying fucking MC numbers with Amazon. Just like, I don't know what they're doing. Are they like pulling scams or what are they doing? Like, are they like just like?
They violate Amazon's relay terms of service. So they either using bots to scrape the load board. Dude, there's so much fraud at Amazon. They're in the beginning they were closing out loads without delivering them. Close out empty trailer movements, which Amazon any given week does about 400 to 600,000 empty trailer movement repositions in the network. And it was, when you're at that scale, dude, you're bound to have a lot of fraud. So that's why Amazon bans these MCs. A lot of double, triple, quadruple brokering. Dude, there was a guy with one truck MC that was booking about 300, 600,000 loads a day. And just like he had his own private load board with all these trucking companies on there. There's like so many scams.
Oh, is that what they're doing? Oh yeah, because now they got those Telegram groups, right? And then they be just like selling the Amazon loads to each other.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
That's what they do.
The majority of fraud is internal too. So like really operational center, what they call ROC. Like a lot of those, they're overseas in India, in the Philippines, and some of the daytime operations here in Arizona. But like those guys get paid pennies, right? And like they get these bribes from these trucking companies. And dude, they take it, and then a lot of at Amazon scale, they even like in their metrics, their daily, weekly, and monthly, quarterly business reviews. They count this fraud in, but they do try to reduce it. But that's why you see those. The long answer to your question is that's why those MCs are so valuable, because they want to learn. Like they learn like from their mistakes of committing that fraud, and they want to get back in and do some other type of fraud, or they want to be legit. It's either one or the other.
Were you paying attention when those Armenians got busted in Cali for like stealing like $80-something million with the Amazon loads?
Dude, yeah, that one just got media attention, but that's actually happens more often than you think, though, Bobby. A lot of freight fraud at Amazon for sure.
So that, yeah, I mean, but I'm sure they're making so much money, like it's like, you know, pennies to them. But I mean, that's still a lot of stuff, man.
Well, fraud is fraud. It impacts the customer at the end of the day. If Bobby can't go online and buy now, that's a problem if the product's not there on the virtual shelf, you know, in the side of our warehouse or in their warehouse. That was a problem, dude. Like a lot of product, like our system would say, like, hey, we're short like a fucking 1.1 million units. Like, what the fuck? And it was because of line haul. That's a problem, dude.
Did you see that Tucker Carlson's nicotine pouches the little pouches got stolen?
Yeah, I saw that, dude. The article.
Crazy, bro. Now this, and then last year, who got hit? What's it? The food guy, bro. The wild hair guy. What the fuck's his name? Seth or what's his name? Guy Feroci. No,
Was his tequila shipment, right?
Yeah. So
dude, that's tough, man. That's tough to swallow.
Yeah, that's nuts too, bro. I figured like ATF would be all over that because that's alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, dude. I'm surprised those, like, some of these criminals are not that bright, dude. They're really going like after stuff that they really shouldn't be going after. That's how they're gonna get caught. And I know Amazon had to fucking make some nice donations to somebody over there in California because otherwise they wouldn't even give a shit about that fraud. Like, I think just because Amazon's such a big name, they probably have some like political pull, and they got the police to investigate because I don't think the police would even investigate that.
Though I wouldn't give them that much credit, Bobby. It was. I'm sure they have some pool on the federal and state level, and I know because I used to have direct contacts. But Amazon would only go after the big fish, so that was probably one of the big fish. A lot of the little guys, they just banned them and like just let it be.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, because like I know for sure the law enforcement in California would not give a shit about it unless somebody pressured them, and that was just like a ring,
I see
bro.
what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, because that ring just kept hitting them to like $80-something million worth of stuff. You know, like 2 years, right? I think 2 or 3 years. They're hitting them for, and the police don't give a shit. We had an issue in California too with some shit that went missing. Dude, try calling the cops. They don't care, bro. They don't give two shits about any of that stuff, dude. Like, we literally like send them all the information. Like, here's the owner of the company. Here's his name. Here's where's he at. Like, you know what I mean? They got picked up like on some bogus licenses, and they're like, "Oh, we can't do nothing about it. These drivers, you know, these are fake licenses." I'm like, "Yeah, I get it, but we're trying to explain to you. No, we're not. Case closed, unsolved." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, they just don't care, dude. So that's why I think Amazon had to step in, like, really, like, ask for a favor or make some donations somewhere in order for them to even care about that, because it's just wild, dude. But damn, dude, you're gonna have me rethinking my whole game plan here, bro, because I'm getting sick of fucking trucking, dude. It's just a headache after headache. Just nonstop dealing with all this shit, dude. I don't even want to deal with it no more, dude.
Dude, Bobby, that's why this business came out of necessity, dude. Like, the carriers were calling me, the shippers were calling me when I left Amazon. Like, hey, we want to move freight. You know how to move it. I was just like, man, I can't do a fucking brokerage, man. Like, assume all that risk and liability and all that overhead again. And
sorry, because they're asking on a different app. They're asking to break down your model because they don't quite understand what's going on. So basically, he worked at Amazon, right? He has connections in the industry. So he goes out, he'll find trucking companies that have hundreds of trucks, 3, 4, 5, whatever, just 300 plus trucks, 200 plus trucks, whatever. And he contracts with them to get them customer freight. So he'll get the customer freight for them, and then they haul the loads, and then for every load they haul with the contract that he gets them, he gets paid a percentage of that load, every single load. And then, so he doesn't have to just do it for one company. He could go around and do it for several different companies and just collect commissions from all that. And it's not double broken. It's none of that shit. He's just actually like a contracted salesman, pretty much, which is 100% on up and up, and a really good business idea, if you ask me. So that's kind of because you're just asking for me to break it down so they can.
Well, you cannot do it unless you have connections.
Well, that's not true, Mo, because
you can reach out.
A lot of cold outreaches, and I told them the truth, gave them some context, and a lot of them wanted to take the risk on the model, and they said, you know, they got to know me, and they knew I knew how to move a lot of freight at Amazon, inbound, outbound, first, middle, and last mile. So these guys were like, shit, this is no Joe Schmo, you know, and you do gotta leverage your knowledge, man, and you know, in freight sales, a lot of former truck drivers, Bobby, I don't know how much you agree with me on this opinion, but I feel like in sales, a lot of former truck drivers do really well.
Yeah, and I think dispatchers too, bro. I think dispatchers more than truck drivers. Just because, like, you know, if you're a good first off, if you're a good dispatcher, you're looking for customers anyways. You know what I mean? On when you have some time, you know, to yourself or whatever. So you're
It's
always
true, yeah.
trying to hunt that down. And then, like, once you start learning the industry and like the inside and out of it, like, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? If you're working, because if you're working at a company that has a lot of trucks, it's gonna be like shooting fish in a barrel, dude. Because, like, it's literally so easy to, you know, have like a door open for you if you have a lot of equipment, because everybody's looking for that, especially nowadays where customers want to get away from using brokers and they want to go directly to trucking companies. And I don't think, like, you don't really, like you said, I don't think you really need too many connections, because I guarantee you, yeah, sure, you have some connections, but I guarantee you a lot of business you found was also like from like reaching out cold, right?
Absolutely. You know what was the relationships that I did have with shippers that want to actually move freight, when it didn't materialize because of price, and the cold outreaches, these actually, because of price, you know, because it was a shippers market, you know, for a couple of years there. You know, like, it was still direct asset pricing, and then, you know, we still made a little money, and like, but we don't have to worry about margin, and they like that, the shipper like that. You know, there's no margin, and they have some direct control with the asset carrier. And then you're right, Bobby, about the equipment volume. Like, that's what they care about, like direct, having working directly and building that relationship with the asset carriers. There's no other like it, dude. Like, unlike a broker, there is a market for brokers, dude, because like some shippers, dude, they don't have time to, or the resources to, manage performance and metrics and P&Ls for all these carriers with their shipping. So brokers are always going to have a market, but when it comes to enterprise shippers that have a 500 million, 1 billion freight spend, or, like those guys, dude, they want assets.
Oh
They're
yeah,
heavy assets.
100% they want assets, bro, because it makes life a lot easier for them. But they want assets that are going to they don't want assets that, 10, 15, 20 trucks where, they want somebody going to dump a bunch of freight onto and not worry about like tender rejections and shit like that. You know what I mean? But this is another thing that, like, what I don't understand is, like, they want all that shit, but I don't understand why more shippers don't let, because, like, they're like, oh no, it has to be like you. And then if something happens, like with it, say for example, like you take it under carrier, you sell it as a broker, shit crashes, something happens with insurance. I think they should be more lenient on opening their contracts up to allowing these people to sell their freight for the overflow that they can't handle, for example, right? Because even if you're a big carrier, like, if you get a bunch of freight, you might not be able to pick up every single load, and I think that should be okay for you to sell it. Which people do anyways, because, dude, most of these brokers that get these loads, they're acting as a carrier, like, you know what I mean, like, which people don't understand. That's why if you go look, like, say for example, you book a load with like Global Trans or some, or like Schneider, JB Hunt, you know what I mean, like, do you think JB Hunt tells other customers they're selling their freight? No, they don't.
Oh no, they don't. But it's in their agreement. It's in their MYA. They call it multi-year agreements or their terms of service.
So they
Depending
probably
on
redline the
which.
contracts and then
Oh yeah,
you know.
dude. JB Hunt, dude. Their purchasing power is crazy. Like, they even, like, you're right though. Like, their brokerage arm moves a lot of freight for their shippers. Like, Amazon was one of them.
Yeah, because if they're not railing your shit, you don't see JB Hunt trucks doing cross country runs anymore. Like, I can't even remember the last time I drove on a highway, across the country or something, and seen like JB Hunt trucks in the middle of nowhere. Everything's either getting railed, and they do everything within the the cities. You know what I mean? Like all their hubs, everything else they send on rail, and then everything else is brokered out.